another amateur model build. Yes, the Christine Pro Mod Racer. And it is a Revell model, which I think came out in 91 or 93, something like that. This is also the winner of my model vote between the funny car, which I kind of wish I had built anyway, because this one I had to reach for the stars and, well, kind of failed miserably. Well, it is a Revell model, and in past memory, as it serves, sort of, some Revell models weren't exactly up to what I would call good standards. Some people consider them really great, but I ran into a few issues with this one. One is the incredibly difficult, for me anyway, roll cage to put together. It was tough. The engine went together pretty nicely, and I even put plug wires on it. Took a couple of attempts to find the right size to make it fit properly. But I managed it. There's the frame, what little there is of the frame, putting that thing together, which was another not too difficult to do, but it was still very meticulous because it was almost a tubular frame under a full chassis piece. Had to get close to see all that stuff, but I got it in there and built it. The rear end of this thing is actually completely separate from the frame, which was kind of odd. And there I am clamping down all my clamps to stick it to the bottom of the one-piece chassis section. And you know, a lot of models just build the frame into the chassis section unless it's a super customized car, and this one I guess kind of was. There I am. Oh, what am I doing there with the tweezers? I think I'm putting some plug wires back in. No. I'm using the tweezers to hold little sections of the engine braces to get it in place. That was incredibly fun. Also, the shocks. This had no front axle to it. The shocks actually had the axle piece that held the front tires. And, well, let's just say, in the instructions, the shocks were not reaching the section of the frame I needed them to. So I had to go in and tear it apart, which somehow or another I seem to have skipped because I rebuilt the front end of that using a full axle piece from another model in my junkyard box, which actually worked. I had to drill out the holes a little bit on the wheels to make them fit the new axle piece, but that wasn't that big of an issue. And there you see that thing going together as I put together the tubular frame inside the cockpit of this car, which was another meticulous thing to do because the instructions were a little vague on a few pieces. Like one thing is that dashboard. I think that came back to haunt me in the end because the body did not sit on this chassis section piece as well as I thought it should. And like I said, instructions were vague on exactly the placement, but I thought I got it in where it needed to go. Well, I'm starting to work on the body. I painted the windshields. All this is hand painted. Basically, everything you see on there is hand painted because the weather has been cold and I can't get outside to paint. And I do not have any money, so I don't have an inside paint box to use. So kind of a problem. But I got the windshields in fairly decently. And no, I did not white letter my tires because, well, it took nearly 15 minutes to just sand down the slick seam and the rubber to get them looking the way I wanted them to look anyway. But I finally got them there. They look pretty decent. I think, oh, and that's another thing. The wing support on this, there you see it up in the upper right-hand corner, didn't quite match the orientation of the slots where they were supposed to go. I had to rebuild the parachute holder. I basically cut the pins off of it so it would fit in there. Okay, we're coming up on a video. All right. The winner of the two-car contest has been finished. Pretty much, anyway. Welcome to my nightmare. This is Christine, the 58 Plymouth Fury, I think, Pro modified build of the actual car. Lots of decals on this one. Also, come on, turn. There we go. Doesn't show up on here, but there we go, a little better. That is my front end rebuild of what the model came with, because, well, the shocks that you see right there in the middle were not long enough to reach part of the frame that came with the model. Either that or I was definitely building something extremely wrong. Even in 2 attempts to readjust it, it still would not reach. So I kind of built my own front end for it to hold the wheels at least. They still came out in roughly about the same position. And the tubular frame of this thing is definitely out of my wheelhouse. It really stinks. The rear tires turned out very nicely. Took a while to sand that seam out of the middle, but they do look racetrack done now. Here's the body, which does not quite sit properly on the chassis section, but I can get it close enough to make me happy, because that's what I am. I am the amateur model builder. Because it's not going to be show worthy, but you know, I get it close enough to keep me happy. So there you go. If you're looking at this, you're at the tail end of the film. It showed the build, and then probably a section of it me tearing apart that front end because it wasn't doing right. So hey, there it is. Thanks for watching, thanks for visiting, and, well, if you got any nasty comments, keep them to yourself, because I don't care, because I got it done anyway. This is my geocaching handle, Flag 2007, saying, y'all have a great day, and I'll post another, maybe another voting thing for my next build. Hadn't decided yet. Last turntable stop with the body sitting on the frame, chassis, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't sit quite like I think it should, but it's close. You know, come on. For an amateur model build, it's not too bad. I will talk more, well, I did talk more about that support system there, but thought I would just give one last look at the whole thing sitting together. It'll look good in my case. And there it is. Yep, see that right there? Doesn't quite, there we go. All right.